Now, I'm not a gambling man, but I have a good guess that you, if you're like me, have asked God, what is His will for you in life? And we can see what God's will is for us in this life in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 3 through 6. For this is God's will for you in your life. Listen. Your sanctification, meaning being transformed into the image of Christ, because we are called image bearers of Christ. That you keep away from sexual immorality, that each one of you know how to control his own body in holiness and honor, not with lustful passions like the Gentiles who do not know God. This means one must not transgress against one another or take advantage of a brother or sister in this manner, because the Lord is the avenger of all these offenses, as we also previously told you and warned you. For God has not called us to impurity, but to live in holiness with Him. Holiness means to be set apart. This seems pretty vague, doesn't it? Maybe this is not God's whole will for your life. But I will go to the fact that it says this is God's will for you in life. Because what is God's will? That we live in communion with Him. But when we sin, it consequently affects our relationship with God. Now, our eternal relationship is secure with God, but our sanctification matters, that we are being transformed. And when we sin sexually or lustfully, it says in the Bible, we're not just sinning against someone or against God, but also against our own body. Therefore, we are told to flee these lustful sexual actions. Whether it's by yourself, what you're looking at online, or with your partner, if you're outside of a covenant marriage relationship. Now, this temptation and sin is one of the hardest to overcome, especially in my own life. And it statistically shows, especially in men, that this is true. Now, I'm not sure what it's like for women. I'm not a girl. But this is God's will, that we don't do this because it hurts God's heart. And it is such a prized thing in God's eyes that we shouldn't be using this in impure ways, but rather in the purity He has called us to. That we abstain from sexual immorality, which is any sexual act outside of a covenant marriage between a man and a woman. This means what you're looking at, and if you're even in a relationship, what are you looking at online? Jesus says, if you even look lustfully on a woman, you've committed adultery. And we are all guilty of this. I myself, certainly. But what is the good news? The good news is that Jesus died for us. Not just that we're saved, but He also says whoever the Son sets free is free indeed. We don't have to sin in this way. What you've looked at, how you've lusted, can be in the past. The last time isn't the next time. The last time can be the previous time. This is God's will, that we abstain from this, we look to Him, and He makes all things possible, because with ourselves, with man, it's impossible.